ranked a few times. And I was like, have I ever won? And he was like, no. And I was like, all right, bro, bet.
You have to laugh.
Every Asuri, I'm going 300,000% on now. But here we go. Starting off game one, Asmodie on the Vector and Rosco on this Asuri.
Hattori.
Yeah, see,
But,
I'm tilted.
Got the sword in hand. Oh, snap. Okay, Asmodie with a nice start, getting solid damage built up with the Lance already. Has Rosco onto the corner here.
Random thing that I'm going to point out is that Vector's model is just so juicy that like you put like a really large rocket lance on him and it just looks like he's taking up like a third of the screen.
Vector legit looks twice the size of Hattori right now. Ooh, nice pickup there with that bow recovery. What's going to be the follow-up? Okay, went for a nair there. I think recovery had higher potential to KO, but maybe just wouldn't have the angle.
Yeah, definitely now for certain. I mean, Rosco kind of getting cleaned up here. Can't really make it back to stage. Weapon for to close it out. And gets sniped by the bow down air. And Asmodie gets a pretty convincing first stock. Only in the yellow here, so that means Rosco has a bit of work to do. That neutral air is going to be the start of something. Waiting for that weapon spawn. And it's on the left side, but he manages to pick it up, so that's good.
Okay, didn't quite connect with that neutral light. Thought Asmodie was going to drift a little bit closer there. Ooh, the down light. I think that was supposed to be a downer, but maybe it was just a little bit too close to that platform. Ended up ledge canceling that.
Come on now. I like the falling nairs.
Okay.
Yes, get two. Looking for that recovery. Trying to fish for those KO setups now. A little bit closer, but you have to kind of bait Asmodie to jump or read a dodge off of that side light, right? You can see Rosco going for it there. This time goes for another read. This time Asmodie goes down. So on the next side light, maybe Rosco reads the dodge down, and we see a backdash side light again. So we'll see for it. We'll see if it happens.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good mix-up from Asmodie for sure, but
Jeez.
Rosco now getting juggled up in the sky. Needs to land down, but Asmodie keeping him in the air.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What's the hit?
No weapon throw. Okay, keeps the weapon here and wants to go for one more setup off the ledge, and it's not going to happen. But the Sayer does disarm Asmodie falling Sayer, and that's going to be the first stock taken for Rosco. But in the red now has a lot of room to make up for.
Yeah, pretty similar spot in terms of like the damage difference, right? It hasn't really like closed the gap as much. Like if Asmodie gets this stock, it's pretty much just a bigger lead here, and that's almost a full stock lead for Asmodie.
Yeah, and I feel like the pace of this match is a little bit on the slower side, right? Like I feel like a lot of the time when you have Hattori on the screen, you're kind of expecting a little bit more rushdown. But alternatively, one of the ways of using that speed is as a tool to maneuver around the stage so that you are harder to hit and then kind of bait people out more. But it's not really working for Rosco, trying to move around Asmodie and just getting caught time and time again. Got to change something here or else it's going to slip away from you.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Asmodie, right, giving not a lot of room to run around with, right, as Rosco doesn't have a lot of space to use that movement speed.
This is tough because Rosco's trying to play this like counter-attack game, but just isn't executing as much as Asmodie is. It kind of feels like they're trying to play the same game, but Asmodie, she's got it. Every time she goes for the counterattack, she's pretty much getting it. This might be the stock right here, no dodge, manages to find a way through, but biding time here. You have one stock left, you're in the red, a D-Light recovery from Asmodie, and this game is none.
Rosco trying to deny any opportunity to do so. You see when they get into that kind of neutral position, you see him jump up, but Asmodie quick with the neutral light.
Nice. Okay, ooh, and right on the Warthog. Let's go, hop in for a ride.
Is that isn't that the Mongoose?
Is it a Mongoose?
I thought the Warthog's the one with the turret on the back, and the Mongoose is like
yes.
the smaller one.
Yes, you are correct.
Okay.
You are correct.
I mean, I always used the Ghost.
I didn't check the rear.
Could.
Was there a the Mongoose is for what? Can two people? Yeah, two people can be in a Mongoose Max, and then Warthog is up to 3 because you have one here, one passenger, one in back.
One of them is it? Yeah, I think it's only one in the back because they're on the turret.
Yeah.
All right.
Been a while, guys.
We're old. I'm sorry. Damage split there. You could see it was relatively even between the two weapons from Asmodie. Maybe a slight lean towards Lance, but overall pretty even.
Yeah.
Which you kind of saw in the damage, or in the game as well. Like she was building up good damage, and then would switch to the bow, get these juggles, and then kind of switch back and forth.
Yeah, it was very. It didn't feel like weapon matchups mattered much on the side of Asmodie. On the side of Rosco, though, I feel like the spear probably got most of the damage done in terms of just like the way you maneuver around the stage, the way you get these counterattacks. I felt like the sword was very much so lacking in that department. And part of that is in part due to just the sheer range that Vector has in conjunction with the Rocket Lance and the bow. Those are two very long-range weapons. With the sword, you have to get a lot closer if you're trying to counterattack.
Yeah, I've seen from other regions, a lot of people who play the sword into this matchup try to go for like that half-height jump, gravity cancel, downlight. It works pretty well if they're going very aggressive on their approaches, but Asmodie doing a really good job picking and choosing when to get in. Rosco now onto that corner, gets high, but that's just in position for juggles.
Okay, that's going to be a recovery right to the top, but it wasn't enough. Tooting your horn a little bit too early, quite literally. But Rosco managed to find a way back. Okay, hold on.
Is this a taunt to get bodied situation?
I'd love it to be that. To be honest, Rosco hasn't made me a believer quite yet, but I am looking for it. Show me what you got, Rosco. Talk to him.
You still got that first stock. Definitely has some room, but the neutralite from on stage. Asmodie feeling real good about this one. Another Mongoose brought out.
Okay, there we go. Rosco trying to answer back, but it is not looking good. Getting caught. Red on the jump as well. Has to go low. Burns the recovery. No ground pound from Asmodie, though, so out of the precarious scenario for now, but caught once again right in the blender. No dodge. Asmodie tries to catch it with the neutral sig, and still Rosco just getting punished corner to corner, side to side. No chance to counterattack. Every hitbox Rosco's throwing out is missing.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel the desperation come out from Rosco, right? Like he's just like, I need to hit Asmodie. Nice side sig there. Going to deny the weapon as well. Goes for the GC downlight. Asmodie just a little too high on that one.
Okay. No, I feel you. I feel like Rosco really needs to lean into the movement aspect of Brawlhalla just a little bit more. This is a kind of slow Hattori for all things considered. I feel like, especially with the changed dash mechanics upon landing and stuff like that, I think there's some new avenues here that Rosco may be able to explore to try and mix up the movement to cross up Asmodie. And here we're seeing a little bit of it, actually. A little dash jump here, a little dash jump there, but something of that vein, I think, will be extremely useful in terms of making it harder for Asmodie to hit them.
Yeah, suddenly Rosco's movement is coming alive. Laced up the shoes and seeing him run laps right now. Getting some good damage, kind of dipping in, stabbing Asmodie, and then running off.
Man, okay, it survives.
Not quite enough.
How do you get back on this stage here? Goes low, Asmodie reads high, gives you a chance, and then you have to run to center stage there, right? Like, you have to get to the center of the stage and try to make your comeback, but stayed in the corner. Asmodie was able to get a counter punch, and then immediately after, Rosco loses the stock.
Yeah, that's a tough spot. So many people like to try to go for that center stage, so maybe he was trying to, like, meta play there on the movement and stay to the outside, but Asmodie very careful with it, patient, and ends up getting a good punish for the KO.
Yeah, right. That's the benefit of being in the lead. Sometimes you just don't freak out, but hold on. Rosco has a little opportunity here.
Pogo.
Oh, that barely missed.
Oh, okay.
Good damage, good damage.
Yeah. This is a good spot for Rosco. Needs to get the KO without taking too much damage here, but very doable with the amount of damage he's built up onto Asmodie. Okay, weapon toss approach.
Come on, looking for a D-Light recovery is the answer here. Can you find it? Rosco's having a hard time lining up the hitboxes, picking the right moves, but just not able to get them to connect. Needs to bait Asmodie's movement to find the opening, and Asmodie just starving Rosco to filth here. Oh, man, another weapon spawn goes Asmodie's way, and look at the stage control. Rosco is panicking.
Yeah, you saw him just go for kind of a Hail Mary, dash in, down heavy. He's just trying to find a heavy hit to land onto Asmodie. Finally a lucky weapon spawn for him, but side zig. Okay, there's a chance.
Okay, because I was getting to the point where I was like, Rosco, you might just want to do the gold spear ground pound there and just see if you can close out the stock. But Rosco actually did a pretty good job of evening things up, but struggled to find the KO, and then that's how this gap kind of got created again. But there was a moment there where things were like relatively even. If Rosco's able to tap back into that, this game can still be saved. But it's looking a lot more worse for wear now.
Yeah, the question is, does Rosco have it in him? Can he go back into that state and start building up that damage as the recovery comes out? Mongoose early again.
Landing against bow is so difficult. That D-Light just covers so much space, and at this point, you get caught by one D-Light, that's game. Even a neutral air is probably enough. And there it is. The D-Light does find the mark, and the recovery as true as ever to go ahead and close out that game to Asmodie with the clean sweep right there.
I think we got one more game, one more chance for Rosco, but what is this? Is there a swap? I don't know what Rosco can do right now. Asmodie just seems like in control.
It's tough because I feel like on the side of Rosco, right, you gotta if you swap weapons, I think you need to pick something that kind of leans well into these matchups a lot easier, and you have to decide what you're having the most issues with. Now, if we're looking at this, clearly it's the bow, 370 damage. That's a decent chunk more than the Rocket Lance, but arguably I'd still say the damage spread was still decently even, right? So if you want to get an axe to deal with the Rocket Lance, that's an option that you have, but since the bow's giving you the most trouble, you have to ask yourself, well, what weapon does decently into bow? And I think that's one of the reasons the weapon's so strong. I don't really know that has like a bad matchup really into anything, but I think some weapons that could be a little bit problematic are like if you got a Katars can make bow have some issues sometimes. Similarly, like sword does have a decent matchup in a bow. I don't think that one's really skewed in either direction, but we saw that like the sword on the Hattori was not making any differences, and so maybe swap that weapon out, but maybe just stick with what you know and try to play better. That's always a respectable option as well.
Definitely an option, and we saw a really good second stock come out from Rosco.
That's
so
true.
there like we see like this glimmer, this chance where Rosco might be able to bring out the goodness and end up getting the game, but right now it's kind of do or die, because otherwise Rosco's going down the elimination side of things.
Yeah, and I think one of the tough things to remember, especially in a bracket setting, because I feel like if you're at home and you're grinding the ranked ladder and you're just playing the game for fun and to get better, it's a lot easier, I think, to remember what your win conditions are or like the approach you take to winning. But then when you're in bracket, your brain can kind of just like freeze up a little bit and you just start going on autopilot and you kind of forget what your goals are. But I think if you're a Rosco here, you just have to remember, what is my game plan? I need to stick to that game plan. And on top of that, just like, don't force things. That's the biggest issue that happens to a lot of people, especially when they get far in bracket for the first time, is they try to like force scenarios that they want to have happen. If they can't find the KO, they try to force it, and then they get bigger punishes on them because of it. Just take your time. You got a whole clock, got 8 minutes to work with. Let it rock.
I mean, kind of to your point, right? There's the classic phrase, everyone's got a game plan until they get punched in the face. And
it's true.
Asmodie definitely punching pretty hard onto Rosco right now. Has the damage lead, and again, reads that jump up. Rosco likes to go for that jump out of getting hit, and Asmodie catches him with that side air multiple times. Yeah,
and that's the classic, too, because I'm sure Asmodie, as well as like a lot of other like really good players, I think one of the first things you kind of learn as you play Brawlhalla is try to read the jump out of hit stun. Like the moment somebody gets hit, the first bad habit that a lot of players fall into is jumping immediately, and you got to get it to a point where it's a mix-up and not just a thing that people are looking for. And I think Asmodie's just getting a lot of mileage, especially Rocket Lance specifically. The first thing Rocket Lance play, the first rule you hear about Rocket Lance and fighting it is don't jump, because they will catch it and eat it for breakfast. The next thing you know, you're off the screen. I mean, speaking of Asmodie, already with the stock lead.
Yo, but again, credit to Rosco. He's keeping this one a lot closer. This one's a lot more doable. Surprised he didn't go for a recovery there, but was maybe trying to bait out that dodge from Asmodie. Didn't quite KO, but if he can find that finishing blow here, Rosco's in a decent spot.
Okay, and you can see the difference in approach as well. Asmodie gets a hit, waits, tries to react to what Rosco's going to do. Rosco, I think, you know, living and dying a bit by the hard reads. I think you get a hit and then immediately just trying to guess what your opponent's going to do. And that's a perfectly fine strategy to go for if you're getting the reads. But I think taking more of an approach like Asmodie is right now and kind of hitting her and then waiting to see what she does and then responding to that might make it a little bit easier to bring things back a bit. But at this point, you know, you've been lapped and it looks like you may be lapped again. Yeah, that recovery's on the table now.
I did not like that sword ground pound. Usually ground pounding on stage just leaves you vulnerable. He does end up getting that downlight sider. Still not enough? Okay. Caught the jump there.
Just narrowly putting that D-light right over the lip of the stage and able to catch Asmodie with it, but you still got more work to do here. And gonna guard that weapon? No, you're gonna let Asmodie get it. You're probably gonna get hot by Sair. And yeah, that's how it happens.
One more.
The instant weapon grab Sair.
Ooh.
Gets everybody.
Wait.
I don't know if you want to play this game. Gonna get caught.
Oh!
Into sleep emoji, you know?
Asmodie saying this whole bracket is sleeper right now. Because the one time Rosco doesn't panic jump out of getting hit, Asmodie was ready, locked in, and got him with the side light, double side light, into the side air for the KO.
Said that dodge down one more time, see what happens, you know? And Rosco got burned. At this point, Rosco, you know, trying to swing, missing these side airs, missing another side air, tries to go for a D-light. I think when you're having a tough time finding hits, going for sword D-lights kind of Oh, hold on. Okay, but the spear.
Good dodge.
Trying to talk to him. Gonna get caught on the way down here because you have no dodge. Comes back now. Still doesn't have a dodge for a little bit. It's gonna come back now. And there it is. Asmodie waits for it, and you can see that she has the timings now. She's like, I know when your dodge is available. Oh, you're gonna use it right now because it just became available. And then she gets these extended punishes because of it. And Rosco is just trying to survive.
Yeah. He's just trying to get through. Every time he gets past, tries to go for a turnaround, and Asmodie gets away with the whiffs every now and then. Nice sidelight there. We'll put Rosco off stage, but even the threat of the unarmed from Asmodie is enough to keep Rosco back. One more hit here for Asmodie, and she's going into grand finals.
Yeah, this one's going to be a tough. Yeah, here we go. Simple neutral air. Asmodie with the 3-0 and a handshake, if even. I mean, it was so quick. May have left the setup before there was even time to get that in. But no, that was great from Asmodie, honestly. Like, I really can't. I mean, 695 damage done, right? Like, I think the number kind of speaks for itself there. You got a pretty clean body bag there.